Okay, so today I'm going to pull off the filter that comes out of the block on my NP Pajero. It's an 05, October 05 model. The filter is down inside here, just in there, and it runs up to the O2 sensor, which is just there alongside, get it in focus there, it's just alongside the, you can see the actual main filter unit. So yeah, that's the plan. Pull out that filter, give it a clean. Apparently they get quite dirty, so I've had it before and I wasn't able to get it out because I didn't have an extension socket, you know, the long shank sockets. Just come around here again. So the long shank sockets, to be able to get at that, it's pretty tight. So I'll pull out both of those dipsticks. It's just easy to get at. But the filter bolted into the block there is quite tight. It's hard to get at. So the best option, apparently, according to the Pajero forum threads, is to use a long shank 24mm socket. But when I had to hose off the end of it there, it was quite dirty. I have actually cleaned the sensor a few times. So I cleaned that sensor using CRC Mass Airflow Sensor Cleaner. We're going to get that out today. I'll give you a bit of a demo on how I went about doing it. It's my first attempt at this. So yeah. Alrighty, let's get into it. Anyway, so apparently the best option, somebody recommended on the forum anyway, is to clean it with Kero. So I've got a couple of jobs to do today. I'm going to pull that out and allow it to soak in Kero for a few hours. Alternatively, if that all fails and it doesn't come up well, again, according to the Victorian Pajero forum, which is a great source of information, is that the filter from Mitsubishi is about $55. So that, if things don't work out after giving it a soak and a bit of a clean up and blow out with compressed air, we'll wander down to Mitsubishi at some point. So just quickly, I went to Bunnings and bought some more long shank sockets. Need a 24mm to do the job. Not sure how good the focus is. Okay, yeah, so 24mm socket, long shank. I had the shorter ones before. Okay, so you can see here I've got both dipsticks removed, and I just need to get that clip off, and then the hose just pulls off. So you can pretty much do that with fingers. I'll just do that now and come back and show. Rightio, so I've pulled the hose off, and you can see the end of it is a little dirty, so I can't imagine what it's going to look like on the other side of the filter, and or what the hole might be where it bolts into the block. So just showing the end of the hose and the clamp. Sorry, that focus is not too great. Just make sure you don't lose that clamp. So what I've done is I've grabbed the end of the hose and lifted it up, folded it around here. Just be careful, my engine's not hot, it's only been running a short time. So just you know, either pull the clamp off and put it aside, or roll it up so you don't lose the clamp like I've done. Okay. So here's the 24mm socket, long shank socket, just with a ratchet, and we're going to see how we go getting that in there, and then decide what other tools I may or may not need, or fittings, flexible adapters, whatever, to get the socket over the end of it. Okay, so probably a couple of things to consider. You can see the end of the filter is quite small and probably quite fragile, being plastic. These hoses were a little tight, nothing major. Just make sure that you pull those out of the way as you're getting the socket on or off, because you may, if you're not careful, you may break the end of the filter off. Okay, so that's just with the filter out. It wasn't overly tight, relatively easy. Several turns with the socket made it loose enough to then get out. Okay, so this is the end, the bolt bolts into the block. It's a bit dirty on this side, but the hole doesn't look overly blocked. But when I turn it around, you can see, hopefully, that's quite a fine hole. I'm not sure if you can see very well, but that hole is partially blocked. So I'm going to soak it in kerosene for a few hours and see how we go. So she's happily soaking away there in Kero. Just make sure it's fully submerged, and the end of the nozzle, or the narrow end, the plastic end, is actually under the Kero as well. Okie dokie. So here's the filter, it's cleaned. And that's the kerosene. It's certainly a little dirtier than it was. I decided to pull the hose off, and while I had the compressor running, I just ensured that it wasn't blocked. So what I did with the compressor on this thing is, so it had been soaking for several hours, not deliberately, that's just probably close to 5, I suppose. I didn't do that deliberately, it's just that I was doing some other jobs, and now's about the time that I'm starting to put all things together, including this. So I gave it a bit of a shake and swirl inside that jug back over here, and then I attempted to, retain some of the liquid or the kerosene inside it, and I just give it a bit of a shake, and then empty it out, and I did that several times. And then I continued to do some swirling. I went and started the compressor, and again I tried to retain or fill it with kerosene, and then I blew it out, starting this end. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know, because some filters don't actually like you to blow them the other way. But anyway, that's what I did, and in fact the kerosene came through quite comfortably. In addition to that, when I turned it around and blew it back this way without adding any more kerosene, quite a bit came out of here as well. So I did that a few times. Swirled it around in the kerosene, topped it up again with kerosene, and then started by blowing it out this end, turning it around, blowing it out that end, until it was free of any evidence of liquid coming from either end. Again, I did that several times, and that's as much as I can really do, because you certainly can't see through there. So there's some sort of material in there, whether it's carbon or something else, I don't know. So she's now ready to go back on the vehicle, and we'll see if there's any difference, and I'll come back and report that back later. Alright, thank you. Okay, so before I put that filter back in, I've just decided to grab some cotton buds and wet them with Kero. That's the most recent one. I've cleaned out inside the hole. You probably can't see it that well with the GoPro, but I've poked it into the inlet manifold where that filter screws in, and that is what I'm getting out of it. Now it seems free, so I would say that this vehicle could certainly do with a good clean of the inlet manifold. I don't know whether this is all that common. Certainly it tells me that there's a good indicator that the inlet manifold needs a clean. Alright, just thought I'd let you know.